The other day I was at my local record store at Radio Wastelands here in Midland, and I was ordering some records, and there was a couple that I wanted, and they were coming in like, well, they're only making them in 45 RPM, and and Jim tells me the price, and Jim prices very reasonably. I go, man, I don't know, that's more than maybe I want to spend. And it kind of made me think, can I really afford this hobby anymore? Can I afford being a record collector? Hard to say. So I want to talk a little bit about that. And it's not a gripe because there's millions of ways in which you can collect. And so you can make it affordable, but I have the specific way that I like to do it, and maybe I have to start thinking on what to do to change things up. And I have been. Quite honestly, I have been. And I've been trying that. And so, you know, when I think of collecting, some people are just in this for the fun. That's it. It's just fun. Pricing doesn't matter. I just want music. Give me more music. And that's what they love about the whole hobby. I have these albums and I just love this music. And it's not about the quality or anything about that. It's just having it. It's somewhere like, I want the biggest collection I can get. That's how I used to collect. That's why I had 2 full rooms of records. I wanted the biggest collection that I could possibly get. And so I would go in and man, I would be hitting them dollar, there were dollars, records at a time. And I would be going in the record stores, there were dollar bins or they'd be underneath the tables and I'd be thumbing through that and I'd come out with a stack of records and I would find some good ones. But it was more about, I want quantity over quality. And it made me happy. I'd go down, I'd look at that and go, God, this is great. Look at all this stuff. This is great. Could I listen to it? No, it didn't matter. It was great. Look at all this stuff I got. I got stuff. Lots of records. Then, I think you have those collectors that they do it for collecting, for value. And there's a lot more of those than there used to be, but there's a market out there, a big market that allows you to do that. And so you buy for collectability. Now, different ways you can do that. It can be originals, OGs. It can be sealed records. Some just collect that. I want them sealed. It makes them happy, and that's great if it makes you happy. And some it's about audiophile. How can I get the best sounding recording? This is what I want to have. And so you have these various ways. And myself, you have to look, okay, how am I collecting right now? And do I need to change things up a little bit? Now, I had been doing more audiophile. And I've said this before, the vinyl community can be very dangerous to your pocketbook. Because we will present albums, and we're going to present them, and we're going to tell you it's the greatest thing in the whole world. If you buy this album, I swear to God, not only will you go to heaven, but you will have an out-of-body experience. That is how good it is. And I got excited, but there wasn't as much. So, suddenly, for instance, here, we have that, the Jeff Tall one-step. There really wasn't many one-steps being put out at that time, and that's the analog production. It's not a one-step, is it? Whatever, UHQRs, sorry. But they weren't putting out a lot of them. Hey, there might be one here, might be a few months, and we'll do another one. They were selling, and now they're coming out, fairly quick. But I was excited to get this. This was an album, I really love. I love Jeff Tall. And so, to get this, and I spent the money for it. You have things like Stevie Ray Vaughan, Couldn't Stand the Weather. And there we got the one-steps on here. It's sealed still. Some people collect sealed records. Why is that sealed? I got a nice OG. But this came out and I go, wow, that's such a good one. And collectability got into my brain. I wonder how much that could become worth if it's sealed. And seriously, that's why I bought it. Nuts. But a lot of people do buy it for that reason, which is okay. You know what? If that's how you want to go. And that's where this collectability thing comes into play. You're thinking sometimes more about value, more about is it highly collectible than do I need it? Do I want it for the music? And again, this is not a right or wrong answer. And some will go, you're nuts for that. Others will go, I get that. But truly, this is down to that person, an individual take on how you want to collect. Now, I've stopped on these UHQRs. I pretty much stopped on all of these because it was this. First off, they're making lots of them, so it isn't like it's a rarity anymore, something that's just coming out. You can find them on the market. They even reissue them. So, value-wise, that goes down. But also, the price was going up, and it became to the fact that, is it making me happy? I'm not getting any more enjoyment out of it. I go back to baseball. I think about, my days of baseball cards. And when I was young, I bought a lot of baseball cards, in the late 60s, early 70s. And it was the most joyful experience. You would look at them, you would memorize them. It didn't matter. You'd be playing with them and all that. It wasn't matter. In the 90s, baseball cards came back and suddenly collectability came in. These became valuable. They became highly sought after, highly collectible. Certain brands, the premium brands, and you were snapping them up in hopes that you would have something. You would leave boxes sealed because a sealed box you could take to a show and sell for a whole lot more. I could take this to a show and sell for a whole lot more. I don't go to shows to sell, but I could if I wanted to. So it became my love of baseball cards changed into my collectability. I want to collect for money. I got into more of this collectability because of Discogs. If there was no such thing as Discogs, I wouldn't be doing that. Maybe the vinyl community might push me a little bit that way, but suddenly here's my collection and here's how much it's worth. Look at that album. Oh my God. Did you see how much that went up? Wow. What happens if I get another one? It's exciting. And if you have Discogs and you look and you're not excited if you see one of your albums worth something, that's okay. I don't get it because that's yours and you own that. And I look at that. Now I may never sell that, but it's like, wow, that's a cool album. And so we have this collectability in there. But it's expensive to do. Like baseball cards, where suddenly we're going for up to $5 for one pack of baseball cards. Records have gone the same way. And that's what had me thinking about this album I wanted. And I was looking at, Vinyl Community did this to me, first off. Mike, PC13, he bought the new Public Image Limited album. Johnny Linden came out with his new album. And so I just, great. I like Public Image. This would be good. He made it into a 2-record set. It's only 12 songs, but he made it into 2 records, 45 RPM. Did it need to be 45 RPM? No. It could have been 33 RPM and it would have been just fine. Suddenly a price goes from $30 up to $45. And I want this. And I'll probably get it, but it's happening more. The Breeders are just putting out, I think their first album's coming out. What are they doing? They're putting it out at 45 RPM so you could hit the best listening experience. 3-album set. I would love to have that Breeders album. That's a great album. That's a great group. But 3-record set, now we're into the $50 range, 45 RPM, because we're going to give you the best listening experience. As a lover of music, suddenly you're taken out of this, okay? It's just, I really want this, but we've gone to the collectability factor. We're not going to put them out at 45 RPM. which, for some, that's what you want and that's what you collect, and that is okay. Collecting, this hobby is how you want to do it. No right, no wrong. We should never hassle people one way or the other with it. But I can't, you know what? I'm not going to buy it. First off, that's 3 albums at 45 RPM. I'm going to be switching albums like a bunch of 45s on there. I know, I'm just too freaking lazy to want to do that. But why couldn't we come out at 33 RPM also? Why couldn't this pill come out at 45 RPM for those that want the best experience, or 33 RPM? And maybe later, I wouldn't be surprised if some of these later come out again at 33 RPM. Let's get the money right now, bring it in. We're going to get all those people that really want this, not give them the choice, and later on, hey, you know what? We decided to put this out at 33 RPM. It won't sound as good, but we got it for you. Oh, yeah. I'm not going to be surprised if that happened. I can see that. So I kind of went away from this stuff. I buy some MoFis for Miles Davis. Very, very little else. If I find one used that I really like at a good price, okay. And I kind of went into, now I'm more of an OG collector. These original pressings are expensive too, though. Price has gone up. There is some dropping in prices. You can see that. My friend Dave, VC Ambassador, he's always out there going, hey, did you see this out there? Did you see this out there? The guy tries to get me to spend so much money, it's incredible. But like here, this is an original, the Misfits. This cost a ton. It absolutely was not cheap, but it was something that this puts a smile on my face. This is nice. This excites me. There's a difference. Highly collectible. Well, this is highly collectible, but I like, that's where I've kind of gone, where I want that, but not, you know what? If it's out of bounds, well, if it's out of bounds for the most part, I'm going to get a reissue because I can't afford it. You have to kind of look at, what makes sense for me now. And I still, if I can get an original, I'm going to do it. But that's how I like to collect. You have, there's other things. You have like record clubs, right? So, 5 Vinyl Me Please. Now this is like, $38 a month for the subscription. You do get a really good quality album from them. You get little extra things in there. There's usually used writing, stuff like that. It's pretty good stuff, but it's not cheap. I'm still in that. You have things like Third Man Record. Here's a White Stripes one, and what we got here? It's Elephant. I'm going to pay. That's $75 4 times a year to get one of these. These used to be highly valuable. They're not as much anymore because everyone's on it. It's so because of that, there is a lot out there. So you don't see it. Early Third Man Record stuff, if you're a collector, goes up for a lot of money. These don't necessarily as much. Some of them tank. Others kind of hold their value. They're coming out, this new one's going to be the all the albums from Syd Barrett. And I'm super excited about that. But I've considered, do I need this? But then you have like here, Foo Fighters, Greatest Hits. This is out there. I can't afford to buy all the Foo Fighter albums anymore, but this offered me everything. It's a 2-record set, around $35, and I get everything from the Foo Fighters. This is affordable. This allows me to get all these things. If I saw original Foo Fighters at a price that I thought was decent, maybe I would pick some up, but I don't need the reissues. I can get that. Bandcamp. I've recently picked this thing up, and I'm going to show that in a few weeks. Really cool. Blight. How'd I find this? Vinyl Community. Sam Vinyl Douche showed it. Drops the needle. I go, holy smokes, I like that. That's why I bought that Public Enemy. Someone dropped the needle on it, and Mike, PC13 Vinyl Policeman, I bought it. But this was only $20. So That's a great price. Bandcamp, you can find some really cool stuff out there. But there's other ways in which to save. It's so, for me though, it's just I'm switching more and more away from, again, the audiophile stuff. I'm pretty much stopped. I think it's just getting out of bounds. There's some collectors you can really afford it, and if you can afford it, you know what? It's great. I would buy it if I had all that. If I had a lot of extra income, I would get it. But the thing is, I've already enough time just trying to keep my normal stuff down. And to take something like that, I got to quit buying a bunch of other things. I would rather have this other stuff than one of these. It makes me happier. But you can go CDs. Think about CDs right now, super cheap. I think what one of my friends in the vinyl community, Greg over in Pittsburgh, and suddenly Greg, I went blank on your channel, but it's right here down below. Okay, there it is. He collects CDs, and it's what makes him happy. And he'll bring stacks of CDs, and there's nothing wrong. He's in it for the music. He's in it for the music. And many CD collectors, that's exactly what it is. I want the music. I want to hear it, and I can get a whole bunch of it for $1. And I appreciate that. That's great. I'm not going to get into CDs. I mean, I had thousands and thousands of them. Now, space limitations, though they take up a lot less than records, I enjoy vinyl. This makes me happy. I mean, I put off buying CDs till 1989 till I couldn't get it anymore. Why? Because I love vinyl and the way it looks and the way it feels and the size of it. And my eyesight isn't what it used to be. So that's why I keep to that. I could thrift more. I try thrifting. I get frustrated with it. I used to be antique malls. You know what? You can get 3 for $1, $1. You could find it all. Now they've gone loco. I mean, antique malls are absolutely insane. You can find good buys out there. There's no doubt about it. I don't want to take the time. I check out a Goodwill once in a while. It's a frustration for me, and I don't have the time that I want to go into them. So I pass that up. But others, great. The stuff they find is fantastic. You have eBay. People get great deals off eBay. I haven't really messed with eBay. It's just a lot. And do I need another site to help me spend more money? Probably not. I take some of my records, I bring them in for credit so I can get other things that I really want. I'm doing that. It used to be I couldn't do that. I absolutely couldn't do that. I want these records. Now it's gotten a lot better and I'm able to do that. So I like that. But my final thought on this is, part of it is as you get older, we reflect on prices differently. I remember back when, example, when I was a kid, I paid a nickel for a candy bar. I got it honest truth, the late 60s. I paid a nickel for a candy bar. A candy bar is now $1.50. I think that's like a 75,000% increase in price. Now, I was buying records for $3.99. Let's just say $4. I was buying records. Now, a lot of them go for $30. Well, that's only like a 750% increase. The mathematicians go ahead and mess with this. That's just off the top of my head. I don't know. But candy bars have gotten up a lot more in price, but it's still $1.50. Well, that's insane too. So, vinyl, will continue to go up. Prices always go up. And that's just part of it. I think where the pricing aspect here is where we're now suddenly not coming out with 33 RPM versions, but coming out with something bigger, something more 45, and we're packaging as something much better than what you would have got at 33 RPM, and we know you're going to be much happier with it instead of giving us a choice. The choice may come later. So I really think that's part of it. I just have to think more when I spend, what I decide to spend on. It takes more thought now as I look at it. Do I need this? How bad do I really want this? I still blind buy. It happens all the time. And my blind buys aren't $1 or $2. It's more gee whiz, you know, that looks really neat. YouTube, like I mentioned, really I buy a lot of records based upon you, based upon your recommendation, whether it be in comments. Hey, Steve, check this out. And I go, wow, I have to have that. And that's part of my problem. I get into, I got to have that. And I'll go right on and order it. Bam. Didn't check if hey, how's the money situation? I didn't bother looking. I bought it. Oh, crap. Probably should not have done that. Yeah, that's just, some of you have willpower. And for those that have willpower, I salute you. God bless you. I appreciate you. And feel free to give me some of your blood transfusion. Transfuse some of your blood into me, okay? Because I need it. Because I want to react. Now, I do have a lot on a wish list on Amazon. I decide, okay. But other stuff, bam. Going to discard, boop, 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 good price. Got it. Yeah, that's how I am. So, well, as usual, we get off track. But, you know, so YouTube, though, can cost me a lot. If I did not do YouTube, if I did not do this, not part of the vinyl community, I would save a ton of money. I truly, truly would. But I wouldn't have as much fun. And that's why I don't mind spending the money, because I'm having just the best time with each of you talking about stuff like this. So there we go. It is harder to afford this hobby, but you just have to switch. I've switched gears. I've moved in different directions. I buy more reissues. There's originals I no longer will buy, and I'll just get a reissue, and I'm happy with it. I'm trying to push myself back from the collectability more into, I just like music and I want to enjoy it and have fun. This Misfits still puts a great smile on my face, and I could not be happier to have it. But this $20 album puts a smile on my face too, and a $5 album, that's great. So there we go. I'm still going to collect records. Just have to rethink, and I think all of us go through that. We have to decide, what kind of collector am I, and how do I want to do this going forward? Thank you for taking your time to actually watch this, okay? I appreciate it. I'll have a video on Thursday, too. Bye.